So What craft channel. My name is Andrea, and I will hopefully be doing a few different videos, trying to, make my niche and do it a little different than others. And I'm coming to you this weekend, Mother's Day weekend 2018. So happy Mother's Day to all of those, and a happy Mother's Day to all the pet owners as well. So like I said, I'm going to try to do things a little different. There's all different kinds of crafting videos out there, but hopefully mine will be a little different. So I'm going to start off by explaining I do all kinds of crafting. I was taught when I was a child by my mom. And I just love doing any kinds of crafting, and I'm not a stranger to trying something. So if you have something you want me to try, go ahead and leave a comment and I'll see about doing so. I wanted to start off my first series on crocheting because that's what I like to do the most. It's very relaxing for me, especially if I'm stressed out, because I do have 4 children, so that can happen. So let's get started. So this is the first video. I'll try to keep them short, depending on, the first one might be a little long because I have a lot of things I want to cover, and then we'll go on from there. The first video today is going to be about the basics of crocheting, and one of the first things I would like to start off is my background is a little simple because I'm still working out the kinks, and hopefully I will be able to get, a better background and have things look a little different. But to start off, I'd like to tell you, in case you didn't know, and if you're new to the art of crocheting, it is a very fun thing to do. And the word crochet actually means needlework done with a needle having a small hook at one end for drawing the thread or yarn through intertwined loops. And depending on how you loop the hooks or hook the loops, depends on the design you get and the different styles. According to, and I actually didn't realize this, according to the Google search I did, there are many types of crochet, but there are 21 main styles of crochet. Later in the video, we're just going to be doing basic, but in the future videos, I'm going to try to feature one of each, a pattern, or at least show you how to do the basics of each one of these. The first one, and I'll see if you can see my list here. It's kind of hard to see, but the first one there on the list is, I'm always hard to pronounce this one, but it's amigurumi, or I always want to call it origami, but I'm not pronouncing that right. And that one to me seems like, when you see different animals, or like a different take on animals, kind of like if this was like an art thing, it'd be like they remind me of anime, kind of, if anybody knows what that is. It's kind of what it reminds me of. And then and I'm not familiar with a lot of these, so I'll have to look them up. So the second one there is Aran, or Aran. The third one is Bavarian style. The fourth one is Bosnian. The fifth one is Bullion. The sixth is Broomstick, and I've seen this done, but I've never actually tried it. Not sure how to pronounce the seventh one, so I'm not even going to try. Number 8 is Clothesline. 9 is Clones Lace. 10 is Crow Hook. 11 is Filet Crochet. And I actually have done this one. This one is good if you want to make, when I was little, my mom made my sister and I blankets, and she put our names on the blanket, because this, you follow a sheet of graph paper, or you could do it like a cross stitch pattern. You're making squares, and so it's pretty fun. So that one's good if you want to do that. There's finger crochet, which I have tried that, and it's a little tedious for me, but it was fun. There's freeform, hairpin, in micro. And then overlay, pineapple, which I'm not quite sure what that is. I haven't looked that up yet. Stained glass, symbol, tapestry, and Tunisian. And Tunisian's another one that I really like. I go back and forth between that and the basic crochet. Yeah, I really like this one. I was able to make a scarf out of this one, and I was able to incorporate a perler bead pattern because they're similar to cross stitch patterns of the Batman symbol. And I will put a link to that pattern in the description, and it will take you to my Facebook page, So What Home Party, which is the Facebook page. I'll put a link to that as well. The pattern will be for sale there. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Got a lot of people liking that one. So that is the types of crochet. Like I said, I plan on trying to make a series of those, so do a project for each one, or at least just show you how to do them. And then what we're going to do today is just the basics, kind of show you how it goes. And there's lots of videos again out there, and you always got to pick which one's right for you. I know when I look up things, when I'm learning it, I go through all the different ones to see which one works best for me. And some people like me, the kinds like this where you drag it out a little bit, talking about each thing, and other people who already know what they're doing want to jump right to the point, which whatever works for you is the best way. I always tell, I work my day job at a craft store, and I always tell people when they ask me, hey, what should we do? What's the best way to do this, or what way am I supposed to do this? And I always tell them that the best thing about crafting is that there's no right or wrong answer. However you want it to look is how it should look. So don't ever let anybody tell you that it's not right, because it's what you want, and that's what I like about it. It's the freedom of doing what I want, and there's no right or wrong. So before we get started on some other few things I want to show you, I have, as you can see, my bucket of crochet hooks, and I do a little knitting as well. Not as good as knitting as I am as crochet, but I like to dabble in both. Like I said, I don't shy away from a challenge. I've been trying the locker hooking, which hopefully maybe if I get better at that, we'll have a series on that too. And then I like this one here. You can get these at, I think Michael's and Joann's. I'm not sure if Hobby Lobby has them, but they're the light up crochet hooks, and these are kind of nice for like when you're using like a dark colored yarn. I haven't used this a lot because I try not to do a lot of dark colored yarn because for me it's hard to see, but it has this little switch over here, and I'll put a link to the website for this company. So if you'd like to purchase one, you can. But see, it lights up down there, and then it's supposed to help you be able to see your project in the dark if in the car. And you'll have to excuse any background noise because there's a thunderstorm going through tonight when I'm filming this. And I have a kitten in heat that wants some attention, so if you hear that in the background. So yeah, I'll put a description about this, or a link to this in the description. And then this is just a basic crochet hook. Today, when we do our basic steps, we're going to be using this one. I'll see if I can get it in there for you. It is an H/8 hook, or a 5.00 millimeter hook. A lot of the patterns will call for either one. I can't remember, and I always have to look this up. One of them is like a European type number, and the other one is a US number. Either way, the yarn, which I'll show you in a second, when you buy it, should tell you which one you need. But I have many different kinds. I got these actually from one of those free, pay shipping on Facebook, and the bamboo. So there's many different kinds, and again, it's all personal preference. And then, people, again, one of the things they ask me is, when they want to ask about beginners with yarn, they always ask, like, well, can I use a different hook size than it says? And, I will do what it says, but I also like to, depending on what I want to do, I will make the hook size whatever I want it to be. And so, I mean, if you just want to stick to what it says, it's probably a good idea. Like, for example, this yarn here that I have, is a medium, number 4, and that's just the weight of the yarn. This would be like a worsted weight yarn, and there's all different sizes. I think it goes from like 0 to 5. 5 would be like your bulky, chunky stuff. 0 is, you know, your real fine stuff. But this is a 4, and a lot of patterns call for worsted weight yarn or a 4. And then right here, it'll tell you if you're doing knitting. This is the size you need, would be a 5mm or a US 8. So I guess it's the 8 that's the US. And then the crochet hook, like I showed you, is the H, which is the one we're going to be using here today. And a 5mm. And then it tells you like how many yards are on here. And that will come in handy if your pattern tells you how much yarn you need. And then there's some other things here about the washing and all that. And then on the label, it'll show you, like, right here is actually what's important. Some yarns, like the Karen brand yarns, they will have the big jumbo ones have no dye lot, so you're good. But sometimes if you're making like a blanket, you want to make sure that you get all the same dye lot. And what that means is when they're making these at the factory, the color can change depending on every round at the factory. So the dye lot can change. So they put a number on each time they run a batch of yarn, and it tells you what color it is. So if you're making a blanket, you want to make sure that you have all the same color dye lot so that your blanket will be all the same color. Because if you were to get one that was a different dye lot, you could end up with a light yellow, and then all of a sudden it starts to turn darker on you, and you're not sure why, but that's because the dye lot changed. And so that just means that when the workers were making this at the factory, they changed they may have added some more color because the batch was getting low, and that could have darkened or lightened the color. So it's a good recommendation to make sure you get all the same dye lot. But for me, most of the patterns, because I love large projects, however, I don't have the patience or time for them, so I will make small things, and usually I am okay with dye lot because it won't matter. Okay, so I'll be right back, and when I come back, I'm going to tell you the different stitches, and then we're going to practice a little bit, so I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're going to learn how to do some of the stitches. And let me see if I can get my list up here. So, some of the stitches we're going to learn today, some of them, not all, maybe all, we'll see. So, the chain stitch, which is just like your foundation, you use this a lot to make your foundation row, which I'll show you. The slip stitch, you use this a lot to end a row or join your rounds. That's what they call it when you work in a circle. Single crochet, that's when you're making one single stitch. Half double crochet is just like it says, it's half the size of the double crochet. So if you think in terms of, you know, fractions, you know, you have your 1 single crochet, half double would be like 1.5, double crochet is 2. So that's kind of, if you think about it that way. Double crochet, like I said, is 2 stitches in 1, so it makes it kind of tall. Makes it kind of tall like this. Double or treble crochet, or sometimes known as triple crochet, makes it even taller. So it gives it height, the stitch height. And there's different ways to do that. And then, so I'm going to show you how to do some of these just on a sample swatch. And if you want to follow along with your own yarn and hook, go ahead and do so. You can pause the video anytime you like and back up and start again. And I'll be right back and show you some of the stitches. Okay, so hopefully if you wanted to follow along with me, you can. And it doesn't matter which yarn size or hook size you use, because you can still do the stitches. And also I wanted to tell you too, that depending on how you, like I said before, how you combine the stitches, depends on different stitches. Like for instance, if you're going to do the seed stitch, It's that you alternate between the single crochet and double crochet. And if you were doing the moss stitch, you're going to go between the single crochet and the chain. So there's just, depending on how you put them together, depends on what it looks like. And so now I'm going to show you some basic stitches. And we're going to start off with making a foundation chain. And I really like the balls of yarn that have the yarn that pulls out the middle, because it's so much easier. But whatever yarn you have is great. And if you have anything to put your yarn in, and I like to pull out a good portion of the yarn just so that I have some to work with. Now there's many different ways to do this. Everybody has their own way that they like to start. I'm going to show you how I start mine, but if you find another YouTuber out there that does it a way that works for you, that you're more than welcome to do so. Again, this is just what works for me. So I take my hand, and I am right-handed, so I apologize to the left-handers. I'm not real good at working with my left hand, so hopefully you'll be able to tell, but I am right-handed, so this is going to be, you know, this is how I do it. So you're going to take the yarn, and I wrap it like this, and then I make an X over my finger, and this is just the way I like to do the slip stitch. And you're going to put it over the top like this and pull it through, and then that creates a loop right there. This top loop here is the one you want, not this one. You want this one. So I'll show you again, just in case you didn't see that. You want to leave a little bit of a tail. This is how I like. Some people like to leave a bigger tail, some like to be little. You'll weave that in later in your work, and you'll use a needle, like one of those plastic needles, like a tapestry needle. They sell them in the yarn accessory area. Let me see if I can find one here really quick. This one's kind of a extremely large one, but it'd be like this, only smaller, and you'll use those to weave in your ends when you're done with your work. Okay, so again, how you would start this to make a slip knot, and any way you want to make a slip knot is fine, but this is just how it's easiest for me. You wrap the yarn around, and this, I guess, would be going clockwise around your pointer finger on your left hand, and you're going to make an X. And then you're going to bring this yarn here over your finger like this. So it looks like this. And then you grab this one here and make a loop. And this is the loop that I want. And I'll just put then you take your hook like this. And you put the hook side through the loop. And then just pull it and tighten it down. Like that. I don't tighten mine all the way up to the hook because I find that it makes too tight a stitch. Now, there's something else I need to tell you too. Now, your pattern will talk, most patterns will tell you about a gauge. And what that is you crochet or knit, depending which one you're doing, the amount of stitches it tells you, so that you can see whether or not how much or how big your stitches are, so that you know if your pattern's going to work. I don't tend to do that just because I know how I crochet, but if you're new to this, you may want to do like it says. I tend to be kind of like a medium stitch crocheter. Now, if you crochet really tight stitches, you'll find that if it's hard for you to put your hook into the holes in your foundation chain when you're coming back, then you'll know that you crochet kind of tight. If you're a loose knitter or crocheter, then you'll have to adjust, and how you adjust for that is because if one way or the other things will be too tight, and you'll be very frustrated. Or if you crochet really big loops, you'll have holes in your work. So you just adjust that by adjusting your hook size. So if you just go up or down in hook size depending, and make sure that it works for you. Okay, so now everybody again holds their yarn different. I wrap it around my finger here like this, and then it looks like this on my hand. So it goes behind my finger there, around my finger like this, and then I close my hand, and then it looks like this. Yarn's coming out this way, and goes like this. But however you are comfortable, because then this leaves me my two fingers here to work with, to hold the work and keep it straight. However you want to do this is good for you. So we're going to do a basic foundation. There's many ways to do this too. There's ways to do a this where you don't have to come back the other way to make your stitches, but I just do it this way. So you'll take your hook, you have your yarn, and however you hold the hook, again, is personal preference. This is how I hold it, but everybody has to hold it the way they're comfortable doing it. So you'll take your hook, and you'll yarn over, which means put the yarn over your hook like that. So I'll show you again. Yarn over, and now you're going to pull through, pull through this yarn here that's on your hook through the loop. And you've made your first, let me see if I can show you, you've made your first foundation, or your first chain. And you're going to repeat that process, and we're going to do, well, we'll do 20, just to make sure we have a big enough piece to show you all the different stitches. So let me show you again. You take your hook, you put so your hook's in front of the yarn, and you'll come behind like this, pull it like this, and then pull it through that top loop. Just like that. We'll do it one more time. So we're going to put the hook behind the yarn over, and then pull through the top loop. All right, and you see that it starts to look like this. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and do the 20, and then I'll meet you back here in a second. Okay, so I've done the 20. It will look like a chain, or that's why they call it a chain, because when you loop them together like this, it forms like a chain. And sometimes, to me, they look like upside down hearts, but either way, they're the chain here. And another thing and sometimes I mess up and it twists on me, but you want to make sure when you're coming back the other way here in a minute that your chain doesn't twist on you. Because sometimes, depending on the project, it can cause it to look kind of funny. But I'm not that picky. I usually can get my project to work itself out. And you can see that my stitches are a little wonky. There's a word for you, wonky. But that's okay, because I can make my stuff work out in the end. So, all right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to come back and we're going to do the single crochet. Now you could do any of these stitches coming back, but to make it easy for right now, we're going to do the single crochet stitch. So what you want to do is you're going to put your hook into the second chain from the hook, which is the way that they describe it in the pattern. So you want to count, bring it forward here, let me show you. So this would be 1, 2. We're going to stick our hook in the top part of that loop. And then just like we did with the chain, you're going to put your yarn over, but this time, and you're going to go behind like this. So you're going to yarn over and then pull just through that loop you put your hook into. So now you should have 2 loops on your hook. And then you're going to yarn over again and pull it through. And this is what it should look like. And you've just done the single crochet. Yay, good job. All right, so now we're going to do it again just so you can see. But this time you're going to go right into the very next one. You're not, unless your pattern tells you different, you go right into the very next one. That first one you skip down to the 2 just to form the first initial stitch. But after that you'll go right into the very next one. So that would be this one right here. This one right here. So you're going to put your hook in, yarn over, pull through, and then yarn over again and pull through. And now you should have 2 single crochets. We'll do this one more time and then I'll go down the line and I'll meet you down at the end. So we're going to put our hook into the very next loop, which is right here. Then we're going to yarn over, pull through. And see how I'm using my 2 fingers there to hold the work? It's why I hold it the way I do, because it makes it easy for me. And then we're going to yarn over and pull through 2. So there we have 3 single crochet stitches. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'll see you back here in a second. Okay, so I wanted to stop right before I got to the end because you'll see that we're at the end with our tail, and that's okay. We'll just keep it off to the side. Make sure you don't pick that yarn up because I've done that before. So right now, and you can see, like I told you, mine's a little wonky, but it will all work itself out. This is what it kind of should look like. It's your foundation chain. So to do the last one, we're going to do like we've been doing all the way down to this end. We're going to insert into that last loop there, yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, and then pull through 2. All right, now we have our foundation chain of 20 stitches, and you can count them. There is, let's see if I can count them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Oops, I have 18. Well, you know, whatever. It's a YouTube video, you know. Alright, so if you did 20, like you were supposed to, you'd have 20. I have 18, but that's okay. I might have miscounted. I was trying to count and look at the video screen and the project, so, you know. It's all good, right? It's the craft world. We could just frog it. And just in case you didn't know, frogging means when you rip it out and start over. But we're not going to do that now. We're just going to continue. So what you would do, you're going to go to the next row, and depending on the project you have, it will call for you to have a stitch that doesn't necessarily count as a stitch for the next row, but it helps build up, depending on what stitch you're going to go to next. It helps build up the project so it doesn't look funny on the edges. It's not like coming in kind of wavy like this. So you want it to, you want to add a stitch sometimes. Sometimes it will count it as your first stitch depending on your pattern. But for our purposes it will not. It will just be an extra stitch at the end. And if you were going to, do the single crochet stitch on your next row, you would not need to add a stitch. But we are going to add a stitch because we're going to do the half double crochet. So what we'll do is we'll just yarn over and pull through like we're making a chain, and then you're going to turn our work. And I turn it this way. So now we're going to come back from the other side. So now we're going to do the half double crochet, and like I said, this just helps build up the height so that we're not, if we try to do the larger stitches without doing this, it would look funny. So what we'll do is this time before we start, normally if we were going to do a single crochet, you would just stick it right into this first hook there, right into this first loop there. But we're not going to do that because we're doing the half double. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually yarn over first before we stick it into the hole. And then we'll stick it in, and you want to stick it in so that you're putting it through both the loops. See that there's 2 loops here from the first single crochet. It's hard to pull it apart there, but there's 2 loops there. You want to put them through both. That's called the front and back loops. You want to put them through that. And just so you're aware, this right here is called the post. And then you're going to yarn over and pull through. So now you should have 3 loops on your hook like this. And now we're going to yarn over, and to form this stitch, we're going to pull through all 3. And again, if I made a mistake or you need to correct me on something, I feel free, because this is my first video, and I hope I'm relaying all of my information. Sometimes I know what I'm doing and it doesn't quite come out right. Okay, so that was the half double crochet, so we're going to do this again. So we're going to wrap it around, or yarn over, and we'll stick it into our next hole, which is right here, through both loops, yarn over again and pull through. Now you have 3 loops on your hook, and then you're going to yarn over and pull through again. Alright, so I'll do that one more time so that you can see. Yarn over, put the hook through, yarn over. Now you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3. And this is kind of what it should look like now. And notice that this looks a little bit bigger, and the way it looks on there, how it's wrapped a little bit, making somewhat of a post. And it looks a little bit slightly bigger than this one. Alright, so now I'm going to pause it, and I'll be back in a second. Alright, so now we're down to the last stitch. And so this is what your project or your sample piece should kind of look like. This is the back side, and a way you can tell that is the tail that you had in the beginning is to the right of the project. That is another good indication of that this is the back side of the work. So this is when your tail is looking to the left, this is the front side of your work. That's a good way to indicate. So we're down to the last stitch here. And I wanted to stop and show you because this one can be a little tricky. So you're going to yarn over like you would. And then this takes a little bit of finagling sometimes, but there are 2 loops there. See them right there? I'm sorry if I went on a camera there for a minute. There's 1 and 2. You just kind of have to wiggle and finagle your hook in there. They will go. Sometimes it's a little tight, but they will go in there. And then you just continue like normal. And then you have your completed row. It's a little hard to see there. Okay, so now we're going to turn our work here in a second, but we're going to do two stitches here. So we're going to do 1, 2 chains, and then turn your work. And now I'm going to show you the last stitch for this video, which is the double crochet. And this one is used quite a lot to add depth and height to projects. And like I said, I hope to make a series out of all the 21 styles I showed you. And there's also different stitches I like too. Like I like to do the C2C. It's a corner to corner stitch. It's great for blankets, but you can also do scarves and other things. And I have a bunch of other things in the works. And if, like I said, if there's anything you'd like me to try or show you, please comment. Also, if you can like and hit that subscribe button, I'd greatly appreciate it. If I can get, I'm hoping that if we get 100 likes and 10 subscribers, at this, you know, if I look back and it says 100 likes and 10 subscribers, then I'm going to give away a special kit. It'll be a starter kit, crochet starter kit. You'll get a couple skeins of yarn of your choice, a crochet hook, and a few other small things that you may need to get started, and a free pattern, a small simple starter pattern. So I'm hoping that we'll be doing a giveaway then. So more details when we get to those 100 likes and 10 subscribers, we will I'll give out more details. They'll probably be, the giveaway will be done on my Facebook page, So What Home Party. So keep your eyes posted there, and I'll let you know there. And then I'll announce the winner on here as well. So, alright, so let's do the double crochet. So we already did our 2 chains. We're going to yarn over, and just like the other one in that row below, we're not going to go into this one here, because if you can see, that's part of our chains. You want to yarn over and go into that first one right there. So I'll put it up there so you can see it. Remember, through both loops, back and front, yarn over, pull through. Now this time we have the 3 loops on there, just like we did before. But to do the double crochet, unlike the half double crochet, we're going to yarn over and only pull through 2 of the loops. So then you have 2 loops still left on your hook. You'll yarn over and pull 2 through 2 again. And then there you have it. So see how it made it a little bigger than this one here? There's only 1 little post there, but there's 2 on here. So I'll show you that again, just in case it was a little fast. You're going to yarn over, put into the next stitch, yarn over and pull through. And now you have 3 stitches on your hook. Yarn over, pull through 2. Now you have 2 stitches left. Yarn over and pull through 2 again. And now you've done 2 double crochet stitches. We'll do that one more time. Yarn over, put through the loops, yarn over and pull through. There's 3 stitches. Yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, pull through 2. And there you have 3 double crochet stitches. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them and meet you down at the end. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so I've done all of the stitches. So your little swatch thing here should look just like this. And then if you were at the end of your row now, you would just pull out a little bit of your yarn, and then you would go ahead and just snip it off, leave a tail. That way you can sew them in a minute. And then you just pull it out, and then you kind of fluff it up a little bit and fix it up. And then these are the tails. You would just take your, on the back side of your work, and you would take that sewing needle and thread them through and hide them in there. You can also use a crochet hook to do so. And you just would weave them through the edges, the things in there, and then tie them off. And then you would be done with your project. So, like I said, I hope to see you all back here for the next video. I'm going to work on getting that sample and everything ready for us. If you have any suggestions on things you want to see, please let me know. Again, this is my new channel. I will have links to my Facebook channel, and hopefully my newest Etsy shop. And then also, you know, I'd like to, if I see channels that I think are good to represent and shout out, I would like to do that as well to help other people, because I believe that helping out other people is a good thing, you know, paying it forward. So, and if you got, I'll put the links in the description, but if you would like to check out a couple pages for me and maybe subscribe and check them out, right now, the one doesn't have a YouTube channel, but maybe in the future. There's just an Etsy page for this one. It's called the French Giraffe. If you're looking for unique and customs, you know, maybe not custom like you're used to, but different unique patterns and cross-stitch patterns and unique cross-stitch patterns, that's a great place to check them out. And then also, I really would like to give a shout out to the Heaven's Gates Cherry Farm. I'll also put a link to that description. They're a new cherry farm in the upper part of Lower Michigan, on the eastern side. They are all organic, and they're starting off the journey. And you have different videos there. They're fairly new, and they're this year hoping they finally got approved for some high tunnels for the trees and things. So if you'd like to watch a company like that start up from scratch, go ahead and check that out. And also, like I said, check out the French Giraffe if you're into cross stitch. And I hope that I will be having some cross stitch tutorials too. So again, thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe. I definitely would appreciate it. And like I said, keep on watching that Facebook page and wait and see what goes on with the giveaway. I want to thank you all for watching, and happy crafting.